I had to unmute myself. Good morning. It's like 6:30 in the morning. I can't get the empath out of my head, so this is going to be a deep dive. Previously, I've been doing springboard videos, but I got a lot to do today. I figure I'd take 20 minutes to talk about the empath just because we talk about it. So hi, I'm Dave. Hope you're having a great day wherever you're coming from. So the empath is a big one. I gotta I'm gonna do some new here. So I'm gonna share. I don't know why. There's no reason for me to share the screen, but there it is. You can go look up the empath, and that's what I want to talk about. I have notes. I don't have notes. I have an outline for myself, and I'm going to share that outline with you. So here's some what I missed about the empath is the music in the empath, and I'm going through my 3 Trek CDs here. This is from this is like The Cage, and this is 2nd season, Among Time, Doomsday Machine. This is Shore Leave and Naked Time. I don't have the empath music. I did find some nice person on YouTube put the music up. It's original music for the time. So the empath is what you need to look at. Well, I don't know. This just looks interactive. It looks like I'm doing something. If I just show you the Wikipedia page, you can go and look at that at your own. But what's important about the Wikipedia page is the most important source and most of Trekdom right here. These are the Voyages. I got that behind me right now. That's what I have behind me. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen real quick so I can do this. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend. Well, I would recommend this for somebody who's really into it. I've read all of these front to back, and they're a great handy reference guide. Anything you ever wanted to know about an episode, like the empath, the empath is right here. This is where you go. So I'm not going to do tidbits on it, but just know that stuff is here. You too can experience the empath outside of what's going on. But I'm only taking 20 minutes, not 2 hours. So the Cushman book gets some screen time behind me. So the empath, music. I already talked about the music. It's great. I don't know. I'm just babbling about the music, so forget the music. Here's some standouts. I know that the episode has a lesson about self-sacrifice, and you read the Cushman's book and give you all the author's intentions within that. And now I gotta reference it. I told myself I wasn't going to do this, but the original name for the episode was The Answerer. Answerer. I don't think I can see why that's not the name of the episode now. But oftentimes with a lot of Trek, if you're watching it and you think back on it, as we think back on most things, I'm not sure many of us think about how things end. Endings aren't really unless you're talking about like Avengers Endgame or something like that. So we often think about the episode. We think of Kirk being tortured with his shirt off, of course, and McCoy, DeForest Kelly, he's not taking his shirt off for anybody. He's not getting paid to take his shirt off. But Shatner has his shirt off for his torture scenes, and we don't see the torture. We just know it's torture. He's just kind of hanging back and forth, and these aliens with their little, like a shuffleboard. I don't know what the odd remotes. Anyway, like I said, this is set up like it's a minimalist Trek. That's what makes it unique. I don't think this is a boring episode at all, although I admit it's a great episode to take a nap to, mainly because of the music. We forget that, napping through Trek is it's like Bob Ross. It's part of the experience at times. So if you need a good Trek nap, the empath is for you. But that's not to discount that a lot of time and work has been put into the empath, and you can read about that on your own. These are just my initial impressions. I'm not go someplace else. Okay, but beyond the plot, beyond the experience, it's an immersive episode. It's great to watch on our new, like these haven't been around for 20 years, but since it's all black background, it makes it look widescreen, even though it's not. But you have the illusion that it is. That's all. So empaths have changed. The initial idea about what an empath is. This is part 2. What is an empath? If you were to watch this episode only, you get the idea that an empath is someone that if you're injured can touch you and take away that injury and put the injury on in this case on herself. Okay, so that's very biblical, right? We're seeing the self-sacrifice, the wounds, although it's not quite stigmata stuff. You see the cuts and I will take on your burden. This is all a biblical episode. That's what this is. It's nothing's hidden. I mean, it's bookended with Bible verse. All right, from the get-go to the end. That's what this is. So one can view it through that and go, I see. You're kind of hit over the head with it. But that's a lesson here. We need to save this world. These Vians, whomever they are they 2 wise men? I don't know what they are. Supernova's coming. We have this team on this planet. Kirk and Spock and McCoy go to the planet to check things out. And for some reason, the science team of these 2 cranky guys just can't cut it, right? For some reason, this is always, there's only so much time to devote to 50 minutes of a TOS episode. So, we see them in their torture chamber like this. That's going to be my thumbnail. Just wait and see. Their torture chamber, but I guess they just didn't have the will to survive. And Jim, the empath, Jem, Jem, not Princess of Power. That comes later. But the empath is not. I don't know. It's we're kind of hop, skipping, and jumping. If I read all like 15 pages this morning of Cushman's overview, maybe I would know a little bit more. But I have a busy day ahead of me, and the cats woke me up at 3:30, and I don't think I ever got back to sleep. And now it's 6:30. I'm going to do a grocery run. No one cares about that. I was on track with something. Right? I'm going to get back to that. So okay, the planet. So I guess the Vians only have enough of a spaceship to save this planet, and I guess the other planets didn't make the cut. So through Jim, we need to see if the species itself has a capacity for self-sacrifice. And of course, the spin in the end is that you have to have Kirk come in and say she doesn't need to die. She can still save this person. But Jim doesn't save McCoy at all. The Vians do. The Vian species already gone. And the Vians look like the Thelosians from the Cage, and that's a different. So I mean, I'm still springboarding on this because it's a deep dive, and the springboard is in the water. But there's a lot here packed in 50 minutes, and it could be because as Cushman points out, it goes through the steps of writing. But it's a good idea. It's a good play. I don't know if the lesson hits home because there's so much else going on. But the lesson's there. So back to what the empath is without the Christ figure stuff in the here. But empath can touch you. The scar will be hers. You will be healed. Off you go. Okay. That theme, that kind of empathic power, shows up again in Star Trek: The Motion Picture with Ilea, and you have to watch the director's cut, not the original motion picture release on Blu-ray or streaming. You have the director's cut is where we learn more about Ilea. So and we see the empathic power with Ilea, and I'm guessing all the Deltan species, which would then be a template for where I'm going with this. So hold on. When Chekhov's injured, burns his hand, like Chekhov gets injured in every movie. Ilea goes, I can help, touches Chekhov on the shoulder, but maybe the shoulder was okay, but let's thank you. And there we go. Chekhov's healed. And that's a great thing about Persis Khambatta. You want to know more about Persis Khambatta? There's a new book out on her. And this one was on the first Star Trek movie. I read this too. Thinking I might take some time to talk about that another day. So that's the thread of what empaths were in Trek up to motion picture, and we don't see that version of an empath again. Because we're confusing now telepathy with empathy, and an empath versus a telepath. And then we see the character of Ilea kind of morph into Troy from Next Gen, who's, as we know, the Beta Zeds. I know I'm using the term, as we all know, a lot. That's almost part of my performance art now. But anyway, so like the Beta Zeds can read minds, or telepaths. But of course, then Troy is only an empath because she's also human as well. But that definition of an empath is not what we see in the episode. The empath is not what carries over with Ilea in the motion picture. So something got changed up along the way. And so I think if we were to word associate and geekdom, it would be empathic means that I can sense how you're feeling. And it's not there. The healing stuff is not there. And of course, the Vulcans have the telepathic power, where with touch we can do the mind meld and all. But I don't know if healing comes in. Then I'd have to bring up, what was the episode where? Well, Spock gets injured a lot, but maybe a Private Little War, he gets hit with the arrow, and then he has to go through the whole. That's a whole different process of healing that has nothing to do with this empathic power we see here. All right, yeah, my theme was, how empathy with Jim here, or Jem. Sorry, I keep saying Jim. Jem becomes Ilea, morphs into Troy, and now we're off. But there's an offshoot legacy from this episode that goes outside of Trek, which, as a human being, I can go outside of Trek because I know a lot about comics too. And I don't know how this character is currently portrayed. I know when my niece, who's now like 12, when she was 4, she loved Teen Titans cartoon, right? And that comes from here. This is Raven as the empath, daughter of Trigon and all that. Jem's powers or abilities. I hate the overuse of powers. I prefer the term abilities because that's kind of individual I am. But anyway, we see. I'm watching this again. I'm like, oh, this is Raven. This is exactly how Wolfman and Perez put together Raven back in the 80s. As this, oh, here it is. Here I am right now. Excellent. So this is out of print, but you can find this in the new Teen Titans Omni #1. But this is from the original new Teen Titans #6. What's the date on this? The archive edition is from '99, but Teen Titans 6 comes out in July 1982. And it's an early Trigon, because we begin with now I'm doing a comic over Hail Trigon. But what happens real quick here, and this pretty disturbing issue, and now we think biblically with Raven too. We're looking at the daughter of Satan here. That's what Trigon essentially is. So you see that theme carried over as well. But okay, so here is Raven healing a little girl who Trigon did something bad to. And we, I know because I'm lazy and I'm busy and I got stuff to do. If I was really spiffy on YouTube, I would just, do some inserts. But, here is the healing. This is just like the empath. Okay, this is the legacy of the empath. It's Raven. And so she's taking on, let me shoulder your burden. That's what's going on here. And next page over, we're getting more of the healing and of course, Trigon kills the little girl anyway because Trigon's a bastard. That's pretty heavy for an '82 comic. That was had the old-fashioned comic code approval on it too. I think this channel might expand if I feel like I need to exert the energy to get this out of my headspace and do some comic stuff too. Because Trek and comics, it all goes hand in hand. That's the good news. These are the things I know about. Plenty of geek stuff I know nothing about. But it's tough to watch the empath as a comic fan, especially growing up with. I'm sorry, did I just clear my throat? It's inexcusable, but hey, that's what I'm talking about. So yeah, it's tough to watch the Empath growing up on Teen Titans books without thinking of Raven. And this should be the last time I do one of these at 6 a.m. when maybe should get something to drink first, so I don't feel all gravelly in my voice. There's no excuse for that. Those are the points I wanted to make about the Empath today. I hope you enjoyed my quick overview. I imagine a more serious deep dive might be happening, but this is a good way to start brainstorming. It's discovery. This is the discovery process where I can think about things out loud and then jot them down and then maybe write about them one of these days. Maybe even just write about them myself. So obviously, this episode was sponsored by the Cushman books. And as if DC doesn't need my help, but hey, new Teen Titans, always a fun read. We'll get back to that as we go. And the clock tells me it's 6:45 now, and I should get on with my day. And I think you will too. But that's when I woke up and couldn't get back to sleep this morning. I'm like, I should talk about the Empath, because the Empath is worth talking about. It's worth exploring. Look at me getting into all engaged now. It's not just the deep dive character. I was kind of on the ball except for the gravelly throat today, and I'm going to work on that.